Hey guys, we are live! Happy 35th anniversary to TNG.
Slightly influential.
Yep.
It'd be nice to know in like 100 years' time, is it going to be, held up as one of the great, like, Romeo and Juliet is, and War and Peace and Next Generation.
Yep, probably will be.
And certainly on the classics. Yes! And we have an actually canon screen accurate 7 pips to our bullshit, our ranks. So we have 7 pips are here, and you will see me on Riker maneuver often because this uniform with the correct because it has a bit of an under like what's it called? Stretchy fabric. It's quite specific.
Spandex?
Sure, but not really. But it's got a line of that at the bottom, which pulls it in, but also like makes it ride up in a certain way, and so that's why they have to pull it down. But what's great is it's a hard fabric, so unlike the material of the actual jacket, it's a distinct seam line to pull down. I'll say the story again. It was my first ever Trek short shoot in this uniform. First take, first go. I Picard maneuvered because I felt like I had to without thinking about it, and I was like, I just lived a real Picard maneuver, just in pulling down the top in a real scene I'm about to film because I had to because it worked. It's like that's why they did it, because it doesn't work very well when you really wear it. So I lived a moment, Stuart, a real moment, and it was humbling.
I'm glad.
Thanks.
Glad to hear that.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we're back. Yes. And we had some super chats to start off, which is awesome. So
very awesome.
Just dive right into those. Sebastian, €5, sorry. Part 1, my teenage fantasies about Troy aside. Amongst my favorite things are simply the characters, especially Picard, Riker, Data, and Worf. Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, part 2, it's
Cool.
another €5, so thank you, Sebastian.
Hey.
I actually tried to become like Data, emotionless and unfeeling, which is ironic considering he was aiming for the opposite.
But swing and a miss there, eh?
And Sebastian throws in another €10.
Ah.
Oh my god, thank you so much, Sebastian.
Thank you.
Part 3, Picard is the standard I would like to hold myself to. The same goes for aspects of Worf in terms of honor, but Riker is probably how I would most like to be.
Yeah, he's obviously having fun. But as you pointed
Yes.
out later on, and also the punching bag of the audience is what do they not know? Which becomes all more prescient when it's like, oh yeah, you're right, Stuart. Oh no, Riker! What happened? You're like, nothing happened. He was always this. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Germentia, thank you for the $20 super chat. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
Favorite part of TNG, all the little details they added to make it a lived-in universe. Not just some sets on a soundstage. Least favorite thing was Worf getting wharfed by the villain of the week. And getting yelled at and told no all the time as well by his friends.
I mean, as we know, tactical officers are never meant to fire torpedoes. That was in his contract. You know, yes, you took her job, but torpedoes are out of your realm. Probes, hey, you can fire probes out a torpedo launcher till the cows come home. Or the Tashiar comes home in Picard season 3.
You can probe any new life forms we meet.
Life form, you probe little.
Indeed. Captain Casey Stewart, member for 3 months at the rank of commander, so thank you so much.
Time.
Happy 35th for TNG, the best series of Star Trek.
Overall, the reason it's a classic beyond a classic. Thanks, Chuck.
Yes.
Thanks, Matt. Well, I don't think any special guests today, Raj.
No.
Redneck. Oh dear, that's funny. So dare I ask Stuart? Oh no, I should start sharing. Nope, ignoring it.
Go share.
Do a job first. Okay.
Yes. Good idea. 35 people here, 23 likes, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And join us in celebrating TNG. 35 years. We want to hear your thoughts, your favorite things, your favorite episodes, your favorite characters. We want to can super chat them in. We'd really appreciate that. It helps us out immensely. But just hitting that like button shows your support for the channel as well, and we really appreciate that. Also, check the description down below, which has been updated. I've taken out Eagle Moss and all that other stuff that doesn't apply anymore. And yeah, check it out. Check out the Teespring store and the TeePublic store. Grab yourself some Trekyards merch. We'd really like to see you guys wearing some when we meet you guys. So check it out. Do what you can to support us. You can also join the channel. It's like a monthly subscription service, so please consider doing that, as it helps the algorithm and tells YouTube that you guys really care about our content and want to see it on the regular. Also, don't forget there's Patreon/Trekyards if you want to help us on another monthly basis. That's another way to do so. Some people actually do Patreon and join the channel, which is fantastic and helps us out because it's 2 different revenue streams. And Patreon actually takes less from us than YouTube does. So if you're able to help us in that way, please do that as well. And if you can't super chat, but you want to send a PayPal, you can send a PayPal to trekyards@hotmail.com. Just let us know in the regular chat that you sent that, and we'll read your comment or question via the email from PayPal. So there you go. Lots of ways to support and help out the channel. And thank you to everybody who has been complimenting the uniforms. Matt, thank you so much. But yeah, figured why not? This is a special occasion, 35 years. This is the broadcast date, the first broadcast date of TNG 35 years ago. So that's pretty spectacular and worth celebrating for sure. So never fear, Trekyards is here. But yeah, so I gotta get a better uniform. His is better than mine. This is unacceptable. Anyway.
I'm back, baby.
He's back. I didn't even know you left.
Oh. Jeez.
That couple minutes was like the most intelligent you've ever sounded, so thank you.
Well, I mean, I see these digs are so familiar to me, you know.
You love it. You love it.
Well,
yeah, you do. Just admit it. Anyway.
As I was going to say, Stuart.
Yes, dear.
Are there any first memories of TNG you can remember or think of? Anything that strikes out as that must have been right there at the start? Will I do a new poll?
One of my first memories of TNG, well, it was obviously the lead up to it, having discussions with my brothers about what it would be about and what it'd be like. We heard there was a French captain, and I was like young. I was like 13 or 14. I was like, French captain, is he going to have a beret and have a little pencil thin mustache? And so I bugged my brothers about that kind of stuff, and they probably hated me for it. But I do remember sitting on the living room floor in my parents' house downstairs and watching Encounter at Farpoint. And
so you got some real memories there. Those are not
yeah
real memories.
Being excited for it. And the one scene that I remember the most, which is weird, besides the Farpoint station itself, is the Enterprise from below with the tractor, where it's supplying power through the emitter thing. I forget exactly what it's called. You know what I mean? That point. I thought that was a really cool scene, and also seeing the saucer separation. I remember that quite vividly because, you know, it was just such an awesome thing to see a starship do. So I got a few early memories of Encounter at Farpoint specifically, and then a few other little bits and pieces of episodes here and there over the next little while. So yeah, how about you? I mean, you weren't alive when it first aired, so
not even close.
What was your first exposure to it?
Jesus. I mean, I obviously didn't watch any of it live. I guess the show was the show was still on the air when I was born, so I didn't watch that first run. So I'm sure it was in purely VHS form in the house, but because when you're young, you aren't, well, you shouldn't be, the controller of the entertainment and of the house. That's a parent's job, so I watched whatever they let me watch or put in the slot and whatever. So I certainly didn't watch. That's why only when it comes to Voyager do we watch it sort of somewhat live, then Enterprise actually week by week. So, I'd never seen TNG in order from one. That's why there's still a few $20 reviews that I just didn't ever saw, because I didn't know they existed and I missed them. The odd one here and there. Before streaming, I think we did have the entire set, but also, I don't know, it wasn't. It was a thing that was always there, obviously, but also wasn't a program that you would just say, let's just put on TNG and watch around the fireplace. Because it already was like, just like nowadays, you wouldn't necessarily watch House, Hugh Laurie's show from 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. Even though it's great, so just in a similar vein,
Plus, with the VHS, you tend to put in the ones that you really liked.
Yeah.
So
yep. So the ones I liked, I really liked. But I remember, I know I'd definitely seen most of them for a young age, but so much so that there's no distinct oomph of them. I remember the abstract that very similar to this, I was given a child's TNG uniform. Very similar to this. I'm sure I asked for it. I can't have been any older than 5.
The uniforms at 5, everybody. Damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Because that was I still, because I used to store. As you got older, the way you store stuff changes, and we bought a bed that had an under storage, and then you put stuff further back in the storage because it was kind of like a tunnel of storage. So like further back, the older, then you kind of just dump it. And so I remember right at the back of it, I found the box, because while the uniform was lost years ago, the box was interesting. So it was a good box. It was a great shot of the D, and of the costume. Although I remember the person on the uniform was older than me when I wore it. I think I have a couple of pictures of me in it, but not like digital ones, like on physical pictures. And that I remember. I don't necessarily remember wearing it, but I remember the box. I remember seeing it. But the fact that I had one so young must have been quite a thing. But I mean, you looked better in a TNG than a TOS uniform, I would think, as a kid. I think if you're going to pick one, and if it was, I say properly fitted, but you know what I mean. If it fits you well, a TNG looks better than a TOS. I would love to.
Totally agree. I'm a big TOS fan, but the TOS ones just never look good on me, I don't think. Especially when I go with Command, which is gold, which is not a good color for my complexion. But I love the TNG look for sure. It was just great seeing new Star Trek. I remember my brothers being super excited for it as well, because they obviously watched TOS. Not live, I don't think. My brother Steve was big into TOS, and then when we heard that TNG was coming out, it was just, we're always having discussions about what TNG was going to be like, and like, I was so stupid as a kid. I'm like, well, it's so far in the future.
Wait, as a kid?
As a kid, I got to caveat that because I'm not stupid now, you see.
Okay.
I was like, if it's so far in the future, why do they even need a spaceship? They can just beam planet to planet.
Yes, you've said that to me many a time, and I've never agreed with you. I never agree with young you saying that.
Well, I don't agree with young you saying that.
Good.
I think a lot of it was just to get under my brother's skin as well. I sometimes play devil's advocate and argue a point that I don't in myself. It's just
so you're a brother.
Just to be a contrarian and kind of be an asshole. Yeah. But I mean, JJ eventually came up with the planet-to-planet beaming thing, I guess. So, hey, maybe I was ahead of my time.
Or you were down to JJ's intelligence.
Yeah, well, I was a kid, so yeah.
Oh, there we go. It all comes full circle. So I'm trying to find this. See if I can find the box that I remember for this costume. Don't think I can, because I'm sure it's UK branded only. Did anyone else in the chat have? Like, when was your first costume? When was your first uniform? Do you have anything when you were young? And you guys in the chat, when was your first Starfleet uniform? Because kids have kids have Halloween costumes. I'll include those for sure.
I didn't have any like official kind of ones. I kind of made my own. I had like, the tactical sweater that they have in Star Trek V, like the kind of like the tactical sweater. I had one very similar to that, but like modern military look. And I actually remember I still have it actually. I cut out a little delta out of cardboard and taped on a little pinback thing to wear on it. Because yeah, I'm very, you know me, I'm very kind of, again, contrarian when it comes to uniforms. I kind of like to kind of be different than being uniform. However, I can't argue with this. I think this one looks fantastic on me. So does the First Contact one. But yeah, I just need to get some actual properly good ones. This one looks good though. This is just a Halloween costume one, but
It's held up well.
Yeah.
It looks worse in person because the fabric's too reflective,
Yes.
but the lighting hides that. Because like mine looks better in person. You've seen this one. Like it looks worse on screen, on this screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
And it's
Mine
like,
looks better, yours look worse, so we could kind of meet in the middle and we both look
and mine's like a perfect wine color. Like gorgeous, the right color.
It looks red.
It's bright red. And yours is bright red
Mine's-
because I had that was the first one I had that we sort of shared.
Mine is also a nice, it's kind of a wine stain color as well, but it does show up really bright on camera.
Yeah, it's weird.
So
Yeah, so like I said, my costume was pretty early. I remember that when I did my first convention, when I was 2007, so that was 14, but it was before that really. Anyway, I remember we made a Voyager costume because I sort of preferred that. It was more current, obviously, but I remember but that was very much. I think Dad's got better at sewing to think that he made that. I remember it looked like it was garbage in a good way. But now you can make like intricate, glorious things. And it's not a hard pattern. It's just shoulders and a. Because I remember I was quite proud of that. Although the neckline was like down to here. It was. So I think that I might have a. Oh, it just disappeared. Yeah. Well,
while you're looking,
yeah.
Captain Casey Stewart, $5. TNG was my first episode of Star Trek I seen. And it was Devil's Due, which got me into Trek. Ooh, Ardra. Yeah.
That is an episode.
I should go. I'm going to run into the other room and grab my little homemade Delta.
Well, read the poll first, Stuart, to let people know.
Oh, we have a poll.
Yes.
Good God. I saw it go up and then I forgot about it. What do you think about the next generation? Love it? Like it? It's okay. I don't like it. Okay.
There should be only one answer, really.
It should have been love it, don't like it. Then we could have had a 100% poll. But no, you had to screw that up by putting in 4 options.
And yes, I do have pictures of me in my Voyager uniform, which I'll share once I come back, because that's homemade.
I'll just be a second, so hold on.
Okay. It was that Collectomania. God, my memory's terrible. Collectomania 7, I think I just had. Collectomania 7. Yeah, and guys, we have not done lives very much recently, so we are in desperate need of support. So super chats and channel memberships are going to be amazingly important. If you can, the 5s, just say what you think is going to make a humongous difference. 2005, okay, so. Okay, that sounds more right. Where's the check gone? Oh, Nick's in the chat. What has Nick said? Warts and all, Nick. Warts and all. Didn't see you in the chat there. And you also said next costume was a TNG 3 dress uniform. Love wearing. Yes. But YouTube has an ad. Let's see what an ad we're gonna get today. You tell us. Okay, so who did people have what uniforms, costumes then? Okay, Dangle the first band episode. Cool. Cam Scott outfit, nice. Yeah, Sebastian, didn't really celebrate Halloween either. I mean, hey, hit me up. I can source you a good costume now. The Voyagers and the TNGs are very good from the place I can get them from, and if they're enhanced, even better. Well, that costs more, but not as much as a proper replica. Oh, Nick, I'd love to see the Bruce made TNG tunic. Be fun to compare to how good it was. Oh, nice, Matt. He had the TNG as well. So what? Okay, so how old had you been when you had your TNG uniform? Nice. Oh, was it a TOS uniform? Nice. I've got a costume I saved up and bought a Random Voyager com badge from a comic store. Nice.
Sorry, I was looking for something else that I wanted to show you, but I couldn't find it. But
And for some reason, I thought you were going to come back in the uniform that the one you wore when you were like 20.
Oh, no. I wish. Here's the little Delta I made. And on the back, it's got a little straight pin thing that's taped on. Yeah, you store that. It's TOS, but hey. And I still got it.
So what, did that just... Yeah, do, Sebastian, do. Please do. Not as expensive as you think. So was that something you just kept in a box? To know what that is after several, like, moving houses? I mean, that's...
Yeah, several.
Yeah.
I keep all my stuff, as you know. Like,
well, I mean,
a lot of people are impressed. A lot of people are impressed with the collection, and I'm like, it's not like I just bought it over the course of a year or two. It's been the whole life of collecting, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. This was just always with my Star Trek stuff, and she's always kind of been packed away with all the stuff. So,
yeah, nice, very nice.
We got some more super chats.
We do.
Sergeant Roadkill throws in £10,
which is amazing.
Thanks so much. It was payday, so have some of my monies.
And that helps us go. We are Packers. You will help us go.
And Captain Casey Stewart throws in $50, which is amazing. Thank you. Big boost of support for Trekyards. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
That takes pressure off us already. As you know. Yes, that makes this less stressful.
All right, you have pictures.
Oh, yes. So this is the classic picture I always have as my first ever celebrity meet, but I happened to be in the uniform at the time. This is me at 12. So, yeah. I haven't got that many things before. So this is... You can see if I've changed it at all. Although Sylvester's somewhat grown up. So yeah, you can see that, yeah, it was a custom-made Voyager, although I wasn't necessarily uniform etiquetting as much. But yeah, com badge out of cardboard. I do remember making that. Although okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, but it was Voyager, you know?
Damn, that's actually pretty impressive.
But yeah, definitely need shoulder pads, because I also have a shoulder pad.
Look at the young Samuel. Aww.
What have I still got the same out of this picture? Teeth are...
Sorry, what's that?
What have I got that's the same out of these two pictures? Like, what have I kept
Your
off?
teeth.
Yeah, I'm quite sure.
And
really, they're quite similar. The same teeth. Well, shut up, me. What am I saying?
And
yeah. The nose is pretty much the same. That's
and your eyes, the hoods over your eyes. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those are the same. Eyebrows have got a bit bushier. Not sure why the hair's being. It's such a low. Like my hair's gone oomph. They even oomph. That's weird. Also, I didn't know how to smile. Still don't. I don't know if you necessarily say it was me though. You know.
Oh yeah, I could tell it's you.
But I mean,
that's what your kid's gonna look like. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Dear me.
And that's a doctor from Doctor Who.
Yes. The 7th Doctor.
There you go.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Yeah, bit of a. Yeah, our pictures exist to me in the TNG one, but they're before digital cameras, so.
I gotta get a picture while I'm in the uniform.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta take my earpiece out.
But it's definitely one of those things where, you know, now I've been in costume a lot of days over the last certain number of years, it suddenly becomes less of a costume, more of a uniform. I mean, are you at that point yet, Stuart, where it's less of a costume, more of a uniform?
Yes, because I only really use it when it's official business, official Trekyards business like this.
Yes.
So it is a uniform. It is a work uniform.
It's amazing how, because Nim at this point is like 40 days of shooting. She's our most filmed, and she just was the same uniform most times, and she's like so comfortable in it that you would think that she's been in it for years. I mean, she has literally been in it for years, but I mean, like all the time. That at some point you do just become, it's just one of your skins in a sense. So it's funny to have a cast who are so relaxed in it.
Are you skinning people and wearing their skins, Samuel? There's something you need to tell us.
I try not to.
Okay.
But
That's
you
good.
know, sometimes at the whim of the masters, you know.
Mark Lawrence shows up, our Federation president, sir. We are both in uniform. Hope you're happy.
Have you earned your 35 pips? Because you need to have more pips now.
They gave us $35. 35 years. 35 for 35 years. I'll be popping in and out. As I'm on site at some schools today. Long live Trek and long live Trekyards. Hashtag lower decks.
Yes. Also this week, lower decks at DS9. So on the 35th and 1 day anniversary of TNG, we finally got to DS9 after 20 years. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it is a bit crazy to think that we're going to get all of these fine folks back, except Guyan and Wesley, in a few months. And assumingly their last adventure, certainly together, I mean, certainly if you ask them, would you still do it in 35 years? Of course, the answer is no. They would all say, like, in a general, of course not, that'd be silly. But to think they all look as good as they do, you know, I'm sure when you were young, the idea of being in your 80s was you're an old guy in a chair that looks like a wrinkled fossil. Now it's like, yeah, I mean, he's 80. He's doing a new season of TNG. It's like, huh? And he's on the young ones, huh? I mean, it's shocking the difference 2 generations has made for youth of age. You know, like I watched a thing with Kevin Bacon today on advert. He's doing our phone adverts for like 15 years. It looks no different for 15 years. He wasn't young when he started, but now from like 50 to 60, you just don't change very much. Used to be from sort of 30 to 40, and then 50, oh, he's 50, oh, he's 60, oh, he's 70, oh, he's 80. And I was like, oh, he's 50, 60, well, 65, yeah, 70. That'll happen.
There were quite a few years there where Patrick Stewart didn't change at all, and they're like memes as, you know, if he was a vampire or whatever. And then all of a sudden, just one day, it's like, boom, now he's old. He just looks old. And it's like, oh. It's a shitty feeling to know that could happen.
Well, it's like with Keanu Reeves. He did look the same for 15 years, and then he started now he's getting grey in his beard finally, and he shaved his face like one of the rare times both for Bill and Ted and for Matrix, and you could see the wrinkles under the beard. So like in the beard it made him look younger, but once you take that away, it's like, oh yeah, okay, in 4K cinema without a beard, Keanu, I can see the 40s in you or the 50s. But you know, good for everyone in theory. I mean, is it just because no one's smoking? Is that the reason really? Because if everyone was smoking, like most of the population between the 50s to 90s, and then you
less
cut that all
smoking,
out.
less drinking, and better healthcare.
But diet's worse for everyone.
Diet is worse for most
like
people.
Most people are fatter. Like that's radically worse. I mean, luckily not the TNG cast. Like that's kind of shocking. Like they're all in shape, relatively speaking. That obviously helps a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, diet. I mean, you gotta fight your diet now, honestly, because anything you eat is bad for you.
Yeah.
Like in a sense, like anything in any version, it's like, well, that's too processed. Let's do this. It's like, well,
there's like sugar in everything.
Yeah.
Shit that doesn't need sugar. Area 51, $5. When I was a kid, I first saw the new Enterprise. I hope they blow it up in the first episode. I was young and stupid. Yeah, I remember the Starlog, write-in sections where it's like, not my Star Trek. Without Kirk and Spock, there is no Star Trek. And then there's that George Takei interview where he's like, I just wish they would have put another name on it because, they can't be what we were. It's like, yeah, well, things, leading up to things is always fun. That's why we like documenting our reactions to upcoming discovery, upcoming shows, then go back like 10, 15 years later and watch them and go, wow. So it's funny that when people don't know what to expect, the responses things get. But yeah, that was an interesting time for sure. And it's the same thing as now. It was the whole, I'm not going to watch this show. It's not my Star Trek. It's the same thing you got now with, it's new Trek. But unfortunately now it's amplified with the internet. So,
I mean, yes and no. There's also, though, the legacy behind it, where you can more arguably say what Star Trek is now, versus then it was, here's 3 seasons of TOS animated, this looks weird, this isn't what I know, versus, well, there's 8,000 hours, we know what Star Trek is, we know the realms of it, that doesn't like it, that's really breaching it. You can say that with more certainty now. Then it was reactionary, now it's, well, an argument based on fact. Now, it might be great after the fact, but you can objectively say that doesn't look like Star Trek very happily, as in, like, you could do diagrams, as we do, you know. When they make canon mistakes, like, well, it's wrong, like, objectively, you know? Whereas in the old days of TNG, it's like, well, I mean, they said it once in the 60s, and it wasn't meant to have a sequel, so it was like, yeah. But now it's like, no, it's just pretty solid, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, also, the people that got Star Trek back in third season, they have the most right to have the largest voice, because they're the ones that did keep the franchise alive.
Yeah.
So if they were disinclined by what they saw, well, of course they have a right to say more than the average Joe, because they worked, you know, Star Trek was existed because of their fans, only because of the fans, unlike most other shows. But you know, TNG sold most people very quickly. It's great. You know, it was great anyway. It's like I didn't like the look of Stargate Atlantis going in, but the first episode convinced me. Then I became a humongous fan after the first episode. And it's like, well, yeah, because the quality of the show will win you over unless it's a bad show.
And Area 51 says, to be fair, the first picture I saw of the Enterprise D wasn't its best angle. No, there's a lot of promotional shit from back then, and it just doesn't look good. Like I think I know which picture you're talking about, and I totally agree with you on that. I also wasn't the biggest fan of the look of the ship, if I recall correctly, when I was younger, but it very quickly grew on me. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked it. It represents a weirdness which is future, which is tech. I mean, that's its aesthetic. You know, it's not meant to be sleek or elegant. It's meant to be its own thing. You know, a departure from what was before. Now, the Voyager actually is meant to be sleek, advanced. Like, that's all the things that they might want the D to be. Like, that's why it's almost the best of this craft, because it's like all the things in one. The E is then like razor thin and kind of sharp. It's sleek in a very clinical way versus a very organic kind of TNG way, as the styles evolved, etc.
Yeah. I remember being like wowed by the interior of the Enterprise as well compared to the TOS one. Like, it was just such.
Well, that's a night and day. I mean, of all the night and days, that's the night and day.
Yeah, it's such so comfortable, and those chairs, which I think they changed over the course of the seasons, because the first time you see those chairs at Con and Ops, it's just like the weird lounge chairs, and it's like, what the hell is that? It's just, yeah, it was weird to see TNG for the first time after growing up with TOS.
Well, it's so different, and you can even argue it's not the same universe because everything's entirely different. You know, how many things had sequels? Like sequels that were also reinventions that were still canon. Was that done ever before? Because it could have been a reset, but they said, no, we're going to keep what we did canon. We're going to keep it existent. Not going to reference it much because that's not what we're in for. But still maintained it as much as they could, and it was still the Bible, you know?
Yeah, I think Star Trek was kind of the first one to do that, so yeah.
Yeah, because there wasn't that many TV shows, let alone, how many shows came back.
Yeah. The Doctor is in, and he throws in $10.
Ah, thank you.
Watched Farpoint when it came out on, and huddled around a TV at the dorm at Purdue University. I just turned 18. I liked the show, just wasn't sure about the design of the D then. Now it's great. Happy 35th. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the designs and stuff took a lot of people by surprise at first, but it very quickly.
How many movies were out at that point? 3?
Yes.
So we'd had the Excelsior.
3 or 4.
So we'd had a couple of ships.
Yeah.
And they were obviously still quite different visually from the originals, but nothing as futuristic-y. But yeah, there's only so many ships. Yeah, quite a departure. And I remember Andy said that his original idea was that the warp nacelle glows wouldn't glow if they're not at warp. I've never liked that, obviously, because it takes away all the visual. Ooh.
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's such a shame. It's like, turn the deflector off and the nacelles. I guess the facade is like, but then that's just a grey blob in space, you know. One of the most nice things in a flyby is to see those big, bright, glowing warp grills flaring out either direction. That's the way it's so focused out. That's my favourite parts of a ship, you know. And then when your brain sees the blinkies, like, bloop, 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 you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, they should be glowing constantly, and then when it's in warp, have them be a lot brighter. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
But we all know that Andrew Probert has some strange ideas, unfortunately. So I understand why he thinks the things he does and says the things he does. I just don't agree with them.
I mean, it makes sense. Why waste power having them on if you don't need them? You know, they take a huge amount of power. I get it. And it would also save animation time. You wouldn't have to do those passes. So it would save everyone time, more logic. But, you know, it's just nicer with them on.
Alright, I gotta step away for just 1 second.
Oh.
I'll be right back.
Then. And then one thing that hopefully you guys know that's kind of fun is that this week, on Friday, I'm in fact releasing my next Star Trek fan film, which happens to be a TNG era film. Was not planned, but I'm very happy that that's the case because I get to add a little bit of a TNG love into the world, at least the anniversary week, which is going to be fun. And yes, you're going to see some TNG-esque ships. It's not Enterprise D specific because most things aren't. It'd be weird to always have that around. But I'm excited if you guys see it. Please do check that out on Friday. It'll be out around the same sort of evening-ish time. Earlier than this because I want the Americans to see it, but not have the English people not see it because it's a bit too late for us sometimes. But please do have a look. Season 1 uniforms, something we don't normally see or ever see in fan films, and it's really been really fun to recreate some sort of TNG-esque. And I think we released in the crew poster or the announcement poster that we have the transporter room of a not Enterprise D, but as you know. They're all kit bashed Enterprise D, so it was fun to kind of kit bash that from that.
Who's kit bashing who in the what now?
Oh, it's just fun to kit bash Enterprise D transporter room into the Star Trek 6 transporter room.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
because you've got to do what they did to match what they did, to use what they did. It's just a bit of a... Yeah, kind of got to break the set to put it back together.
Oh, look, no budget productions. Filk Ferret Productions, $2. Keep on geeking on. Hey, Vance.
You guys can talk. You big old geeks.
Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the super chat.
And put in your earliest TNG memories. That's what we were asking people.
Yes. Yeah, we want the earliest memories. We want your favorites, favorite characters, favorite episodes, favorite.
And when was your first uniform? Because that was a interesting question as well.
Good question for him. Yeah, for sure.
He has 5.6 million uniforms now, but how many did he have back then?
63 likes. Come on, guys, let's do better. Let's get up to 80 likes. I think we can do 17 more. Let's do it. No new members, so if you want to join the channel, we'd really appreciate that. So click that join button. And keep the super chats coming. We want to celebrate TNG and talk about it and hear your thoughts and be a part of... have a group discussion, not just us talking in a vacuum. So let us know what your thoughts are.
Put your voice forward.
Via text.
Yes, that.
Nick Cook is here. Ooh, he says the Enterprise D is a thing of beauty.
He loves the D. But he also says, first episode of his that he saw was Naked Now, then Code of Honor on video retail. Not a good introduction.
No, it's not.
Still good start bidding, though.
Yeah, and it being like one of the first episodes, I remember a lot of people complained about that at the time. It was those people that hashtag not my Star Trek. It's like, yeah, they're ripping off the theme from the TOS Star Trek. That's all this is going to be, is a rehash of those stories. And I love that TNG didn't do that. yes, they did it for that one. I think it aired a little too early, but I think it was a lead in for these people that, hey, we remember this. Well, we remember it too, kind of thing. It was a weird one. Even looking back on it now, it's yeah, and you can tell. You can also tell in the first season or two of TNG a lot of the unused like phase two scripts that because they just have a different structure and different storytelling. We talked about that quite a bit in our TNG reviews. Actually, you can tell which ones were made for the TOS crew. So,
I mean, they spent so much money making that show that if you've already got 8 sci-fi scripts lying around with a crew you don't really know how to write for, I mean, good stories should still be good stories. It's just they obviously weren't great stories either. Could Kirk have made those things better? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know. But it'd be interesting. I know there was that Into the Writer's Room doc, which was very interesting for season 1, and it was quite a cluster F, and Gene was rewriting things, but it was definitely a by a seat of pants sort of thing versus a really well thought out season. I mean, this has some bold sci-fi notions, but it's just as ideas. It's odd if you got through, but if all it takes is one person to say that's a really great idea, and you can sell an idea, really strongly, and then unfortunately an idea can go from it was like the Nemesis script. Everyone says the Nemesis script is fantastic.
mm-hmm.
The film is not, because they ripped so much out, they rewrote some stuff, but what was originally went to print to be made was brilliant, and then it became what it became with everything else involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I think TNG really found its ground when it started telling like A, B, and C plots in the same episode. The first season or two has that TOS story structure where there's one story. And, I like where it switches back and forth between two or three different stories. I think that's what really gave it TNG flavor and depth. Because you get to know more of the characters. Because TOS did not explore their characters well. Just the three mains, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. So, yeah, TNG really kind of branched it out and made it feel like an actual crew and a family. And
well, there's also, I mean, this bridge crew picture, and this was eighth season, but these were the same people, bar Guinan. Like, they set out with, we have these characters. Whereas TOS, it isn't, we have these characters, it's, here's Bones, Spock, and McCoy, and our guest stars.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were. They weren't meant to be primaries, they weren't fully... Whereas they start TNG with, we've got a 8 cast ensemble, built from the ground up. TOS was never that, not once. As as William Shatner always says, I was there 5 days a week, George came for 1 day a week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder why I didn't talk to that much, because he was in his chair on the bridge, said a few lines, went home. I was there every day, being the head of the show, learning lines, doing lines, working with the 2 boys. That was me. They were day players that everyone loved in the movies. Versus Worf, who had to be there every day, just to be the background actor in all their sets, for all the upshots. He never could not be on set for the wides. He was always there. Whereas Data could F off because they rarely ever used the front to back.
Mm. Yeah. I think another thing that I think really stands out for a lot of people with TNG, especially season 1, is Tasha dying. Like, they killed off one of the main characters like right away, pretty much, which was a little unheard of. And I love the stories from the season 1 as well, where Patrick Stewart didn't even unpack his suitcase. He didn't think this was going to be a long-lasting gig at all. It was just rehashing this old sci-fi show. And I just love that it powered through and became what it is today. So 35 years later, we're still talking about it, and it just got better and better season on season-ish. Season 7's got some duds, I guess, but,
Well, it was. I mean, they lucked out hard with the cast. Every single cast member is a very talented actor if given the right material. You can't say that for every actor in every script and every story. That's not maybe not Wesley Will so much. He's probably the weakest of the cast, actor wise. I mean, if you look at this 7, I'd say he's the weakest, absolutely. I mean, he has obviously the least experience of everybody, but, I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, but I think easily the weakest.
Yeah, I would say so. It kind of showed in the fan reaction to him.
But I just mean as an actor, not as like a... Because each one of those, like, they weren't a character, whereas it was always just as weird, whatever. I guess it's kind of always as a person, if they're Abrams, for example, but just they're all really, really good actors, and I wish they were taken on by mainstream media more to do more roles. Obviously, Whoopi and Patrick being exceptions, but that's probably when you nail one thing to the absolute T. And this is what, when you do casting, you're obviously looking for a certain thing. You aren't going to hire a Jamaican to play an Irishman, like in that very niche little way. So when you're casting, you're obviously looking for certain things anyway. Big, strong man to play whatever, or whatever. So obviously picked people who fought the audition to park into this type. That's why they hold it so well. And it's like Will Smith, plays the Will Smith character exceptionally well. His range isn't the most. There are some actors that can do a billion things. Like, he's in that. Like even Carl Urban, he's in like 30,000 things. That's some pretty different characters, but he's less memorable theoretically. But that's because of Young Wiz's career.
See you later, Nick. Thanks for coming by.
Good night.
I agree with Redneck Economics. Never really liked Jar. I didn't either, actually. Matt says Skin of Evil was the first TNG episode I had seen at the time. I was only 8 at the time, so I didn't really understand the impact of it. Yeah. Joseph says, well, to be fair, Will never thought he was an actor.
Hey, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Redneck says, I never really liked Yar. Well, she wasn't really given much. That's the trick. She can only be as good as what she's given, and you can sense she was always trying really hard in the role. She was committed. That's always a big... there's so many trash films that the actors already know they're doing a sci-fi of the week for $1 million budget, and it's like, it's trash, but it's work. And it's, but it's those that can commit fully who still put in their A game. I know someone's asked me for CGI, can you do less good CGI for less budget? I'm like, sort of, because my name's to it, so I can't anymore actively make worse CG that's quicker, because my name's attached to it. Like, once you get to some point, you can't sort of go back. So some actors obviously they'll give it their all, because that's the point of why they're there. Some actors like Bruce Willis in the late years of his career, obviously just I know he's ill, but coming in with zero intention of doing a good job, just
it's payday.
Pay me for my one day of work, and I'll go spend it on something.
Yeah, I think the casting was fantastic for this show, and I love that Patrick Stewart was such a tight ass at first. Very strict and not having fun, and
he's a real actor.
An actor, not an actor.
The Royal Shakespeare Company, especially in those days, is extremely premier. Yeah. That's like, world class. You'd hear about the Royal Shakespeare Company everywhere in the world. The English one, like top tier. So yeah.
Yeah. But then he learned to goof around and have fun. But he always tells that story of how he was like, "We're not here to have fun. We're here to work."
And in fairness, they're not there to have fun. They're there to work, and if fun is a byproduct, that's perfect.
But when you're on set for like 16 hours, you gotta change it up and have fun. You know what I mean?
But it is different when you're the lead, though. As I said with everyone else, if Denise is on the bridge, has 16 words, she does have 5 hours of nothing. If Patrick has every single scene with something in it, plus a monologue he's trying to remember, there is a difference in I can just relax, and I am the one leading the show. I am the head of this entire cast and show. So no, for his perspective, he was not there to have fun. But as you get more comfortable with the character, and you get better technobabble, the effort per thing becomes a lot less, and you can just relax more.
Yeah.
Which is why it's fun to see other actors who sort of have a vaguely similar amount of role, how they all sort of change in terms of fun factor. I'm sure Frakes came in with just happy to be a regular, and therefore, even though he had quite a lot to do, I'm just going to have fun with it, you know?
Yeah. I think he was on a soap opera prior to this.
Yeah. That sounds familiar.
Will Upton has joined the channel at the rank of Commander.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Commander. Welcome
Oops.
aboard. Good to see you.
It's three. You is 3. Thanks so much.
So now you can take some of the load off Commander Cockings, because he's a busy guy.
I try and do a lot. What is lots, yeah. Speaking of, Stuart, you excited for my short on
Yes.
Friday?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I told you this already. I want to see it.
It's a way of reminding them.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I realized that the Constellation class is bottom registry is a flip of the top registry because the model wasn't built. So I didn't realize. I knew it was wrong. So I had to re-render the hero pass and the interactive as a reflipped. Although I also changed L cards from a late TNG to early TNG because you'll see it. So I didn't want to get that wrong. Because I would notice, and if Trekyards would notice, I got to do it right for you guys. So I had to commission
You didn't
that.
notice, but your brain did.
Yes. But yeah, I'm trying to finish tonight, and I can send you a copy.
Yes, cool.
So let us know what you think.
Eric Martin, $5. Wow, Cap is wearing an actual uniform. What does that mean? Is that some kind of insult? Eric.
All right, he's totally bottomless underneath it. So he's keeping in. He's formal on one half, absolutely informal on the other.
It's okay. Eric always has cheesy things to say.
Yes. And Patrick asks if we looked at any ships from Stargate SG-1. Yes, multiple.
Yes.
Good look at Trekyards, Stargate, and there's quite a few actually. More than you think.
Or just type in Fleet Yards, Stargate as well.
Yeah.
Just to be fair, it's Fleet Yards, not Trekyards.
Sure. But you know those tricky algorithms being
I know.
poops?
Both Trekyards and Fleet Yards are in the keywords, or in the tags, so. Anyway. No pants, Cat. No, I'm wearing jeans, actually. Just have no socks on right now. Got black jeans, and I look fine. Trust me. All right. So favorite episodes. Let's start asking people what are your favorite episodes. Go. Rapid fire. We'll talk about some good titles.
Encounter at Farpoint. Code of Honor. I'm joking. Don't hear
You're
me.
fired.
Oh.
No, I'm not talking to you anymore. I need a new co-host because
Volunteers.
I need a list of titles in front of me. Hold on a second here. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, some of the obvious ones come to mind, like Best of Both Worlds and stuff like that. And Best of Both Worlds is quite impactful at the time, like the first kind of Star Trek cliffhanger, which a lot of people complained about again at the time. Like, they don't need to do a cliffhanger to have us come back. We're enjoying the show at this point. A lot of people were upset that they had to wait till all through the summer to find out what happened.
But as we learned from our retrospective, super underwhelming now. Doesn't hold up in the same way. It's a show of its time.
Fire. Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, it's not their worst two-parter, but it's certainly not their best two-parter.
I love that they wrote themselves into a corner with it as well.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine the feeling in the writer's room saying, well, we don't know if we've got Patrick, we don't know if we've got Whoopi, we don't know if the Borg going to kill everybody, we don't know the story, but we've got to end the season somehow. Let's just, we don't know, so the audience won't know either. I would love to. I've talked about it, but I don't know if in this finality, how long genuinely from the point it was released, with the fan reaction to they knew what was going to happen in season 3, Patrick was still signed on. You know?
No idea, because even Patrick didn't know if he was going to be working past that first episode as the next season. They thought
Yeah,
he was
because you
worried
come
that
back
they,
as a you have to come back to
yeah,
finish the storyline. Yeah.
he was worried that he was going to be back for 1 or 2 episodes and then be killed off because not everybody liked him on set at that point still. So yeah, it was really up in the air. I don't know how it wasn't handled.
I mean,
very
quite a while
professionally.
before, obviously. You can't not sign it. So I'd love to know when. I think
Yeah.
I watched one of those doc things, and they said that they had like a month off between finishing a season and starting right the next season, and then they would have like a month to break stories, and then they'd bring the crew in, and you only got a month of holiday, because if you want a season within 1 year, and it takes half a year to physically make the season, also takes weeks to prep it. Unlike Discovery, where you're writing as you do it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at season 1 now, and I'm wondering how they survived the first couple episodes. Jesus Christ!
Oh, because the name recognition. I'm sure but the viewership was going to be humongous the entire time. People are going to tune out and see, because it's still groundbreaking stuff, visual effects wise, costumes, props.
I could just imagine what would be said about these episodes now, though, online. Like Encounter at Farpoint, Naked Now, Code of Honor. Like, wow, great way to lead your season, guys.
Yeah, but that's if you're judging anything by then most old shows wouldn't get past the first season because they were all a bit crap. By today's standards, that's not really fair. That's why when shows today are not made as well as TNG season 1 is made, it's like, oh damn, why aren't you as good as a show from 20 years ago, 35 years ago? Gosh, we know how long. Yeah, I'm just amazed looking at this cast picture that this uniform they're both wearing, this has not aged a damn day.
No.
Still, and I've used a lot of people in a lot of uniforms, as you know from Trek Shorts. It always comes down to this one just looking so nice on screen. You get such little tingles, and I'll show a picture of it, where like seeing this on a camera, because physically is one thing, it's too 3D. We see someone wearing it looks too real, like hyper real. On a camera, it's like, well, that's what we're doing at Star Trek. Like I mean, again, this is biased, obviously, but it's like, oh, that looks like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Instantly, your brain connects in a way that is hard to describe.
Well, they're just so formal and crisp looking. They look really good, and the taper that they have on the black here makes like everybody's body look good. You know, so it's a winning combination of design.
And it's been interesting to both have people in the 2-piece and the 1-piece, how different their vibes. Because so few wore the 2-piece season 3, the 1-piece, sorry. The 1-piece was obviously seasons 1 and 2. The swaps were 2-piece. Background people had 1-piece, and there was occasional random people had 1-piece, but it was always 2-piece at that point for the leads. That's who you associate. And then obviously Voyager, DS9, etc., they all have 1-piece again for the entire run, except the occasional 2-piece. So it's interesting to put an actor in a 1-piece TNG and how that affects. Because the Chinese manufacturers, obviously, they're not building it to a person's scale, and they're going to way too much waistline. So the waistline on the female actresses goes down to, like, below their belly button, like, way below. Like, just, that's way low. Or not a dress level, but, like, whereas a 1-piece, obviously, it's, like, it's all sort of tapered in the right way, and you can clip it all to kind of give the proper waistline. And the form factor looks a lot better, but the thickness of the fabric and the way it sits, it's very interesting how the two work differently.
Yeah.
Things I didn't think I'd have to know.
Right? Well, they're getting a lot of great episode titles here. Let's see. Yesterday's Enterprise. Yes. Probably one of the best episodes of Star Trek ever made. Relics. I liked Relics. Code of Honor. Doctor. What the hell, man? Redemption 1 and 2.
Yeah, a lot of the episodes are great idea, bad execution.
Yes.
I think the best are the best for a reason. there are there's the what you enjoy top 10, and there's the definitively best 10. I think probably. Yes. I think if we both had that list, we'd probably get 8 out of 10 that are the same. Not in the same order. That's different. I'm saying the best 10. We probably have 8 of the same 10. Like if we say these are the best quality episodes, not the most we enjoy, but the best. That list's very easy. When you say personal enjoyment, then Relics might get in there. That's definitely not a top 10 best episode, but my best 10 enjoyment episode. That's different clarification. I think like Voyager and DS9 are a lot harder to justify the best of the best episodes because the range is so much more varied. It's more like the writing for the most part is worse on those shows in the sort of one-off scape. Like I said before, what is DS9 season 7 episode 3? It doesn't matter. It's just season 7. It isn't an episode anymore. It's part of an arc, so you can't judge it in that way anymore. And then Voyager has a huge variety of things. What are you fancying today? Time travel, or attack from escape from Mars, escape from villain episodes, or pretty varied.
Yeah.
Oh no! Well, good luck, Sam Gill. Good luck.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of good episode titles there.
And so much in season 3, as we found. That was like the heaviest of hitter season. My goodness.
Was it season 3? I thought season 4 was like every episode was fantastic.
I thought 3, but let me go check our reviews.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Evolution, Ensigns of Command, Survivors, Who Watches the Watchers, The Bonding, Booby Trap, The Enemy, The Prize.
No, that's season 3.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
There's hit and misses there. It's season 4, I think that's fantastic. Yeah. This is where it gets really good. Best of Both Worlds Part 2, Family, Brothers, Suddenly Human, Remember Me. Legacy's kind of shit. It's with Tashiar's sister. Reunion, Future Imperfect, Final Mission, The Lost, Data's Day, The Wounded, Devil's Due. Was it season 5? I think season 5 is the gold mine. Darmok, Ensign Row. So
we haven't finished season 5, so we obviously hadn't thought that yet because we haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was season 3 because that was like 7 heavy hitters in a row.
I think that was season 4, man. I gotta say, I think it's season 4. Ray Ricks, £5.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Culturally, in the UK, The High Ground was a big episode, even though rarely mentioned, especially as they didn't show it during the first UK run. Yes.
It's a pretty good episode too. First time I watched it was for our review series, because obviously I've got a copy here. They didn't sell VHSs, you couldn't get it. It was good.
Yeah.
Samuel, yes, Patreon. Or join the channel. The join button is monthly. Any amount, you get little emoji, emoticon things. All helps, and we definitely funding this month because we've been whatevering this month. We are significantly worse off this month than we are normally, so put in some 5s. Because they mount up.
Yeah, keep the super chats coming, guys. We want to hear your thoughts. Oh. Enemy, Deja Q, Booby Trap, The Defector, Matter of Perspective, Yesterday's Enterprise, The Offspring.
Yeah, Stuart hates Tin Man, though.
I don't hate it as much as I used to after a review.
It's nice if I can change Stuart's mind. That's quite a feat.
It is, because I'm stubborn.
Yes. So speaking of, this occurred to me. What are some of your negative vibes on TNG? Like, what would you, besides that we just already commented on season 1 not being its best, obviously, what would you say is some negative things about TNG to counterbalance the overall good? That just come to mind.
Nothing's coming to mind, so it must be a good thing.
I've got one that's, since our reviews, both Guinan being in the show and also not being in the show. Yeah. Is that you associate her in the show, but went through like 17-year-old where she wasn't. So you think she's in the show, but she really isn't. She should have either been in the show more to be a worthwhile character in a distinct way, or been in the show so regularly she was like a Q special guest star. Her hybrid status is fine in retrospect. When you watch them, it's like, well, she's not here. She's not on the Enterprise. I think that, I know it's purely practical reasons, but I think that's a negative. That, you know,
I think another negative for me, honestly, and I've noticed this in our reviews, is fantastic story, good writing, good character build up, and then it's
okay, we're done, Stuart. Goodbye. Right.
Yeah, it's like the wrap up is literally like, hey, bye.
It's the closing CG with a voiceover. It's like, what? What do you mean we're closing?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Definitely need a little bit more time with some of those episodes, I think. The wrap-ups are really quick in some of them.
Which is tricky, because it shows they're committing to the bit almost the entire episode. But then also... But you need an end. An end that works. But
that's
then,
one thing I noticed. The wrap-ups are sometimes very quick.
But then, like, do you remember the end when you're so enjoying the middle and the start? You never
Not
think
usually.
about this.
Sometimes I remember an episode going, that was a good episode, and it's like, but how did it end? Because it was literally so quick.
So it sort of didn't.
And exactly, yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. That's a real one. Nice.
Yeah. Squadron Course throws in $2, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi all, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Ray Ricks has upgraded his membership from commander to captain.
It helps.
Joining the big leagues. The cool cats are in the captain slot. Welcome aboard.
What are you saying about everyone else?
Well, commanders are just, and then everybody above captain is just kind of so.
I'm not wrong.
I'm just kidding, guys. I love you all. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm glad Sylvia wasn't within your show when I said that either. Let's see. Something else I didn't like about it.
Or just as a negative element to it. I mean, Troy getting sidelined, just like Guinan at some point. She's in so few episodes. That's sad. It's just she deserved better than that for sure. I mean, Wesley was and then gone. Was better without him in general, so it's hard to think as a negative. You know, I don't think it would have added much to the show to be on there longer, really. And one less cast member meant more time for other people. Obviously, Guinan got the space.
Well, yeah. Guinan took a lot of good Troy moments, I think, for sure, which was sad. But
I think definitely negative would be Worf's first adopted son never appearing again.
Jeremy
Irons? No, that's an actor.
Jeremy. Join my house.
Lasker. Is that his name?
Jeremy Astor. Yeah.
Astor. That was pretty close.
Yeah.
Like that was a real.
You will be bonded to me for life.
Goodbye.
One episode later, who's Jeremy? What?
I have no son. What about Isander? Shit.
Oh yeah.
So that was definitely a problem.
Yes. I still have the Father's Day picture of all the fathers in Star Trek. It's Happy Father's Day to all the awesome fathers in Star Trek.
You.
Not you. Yeah.
Probably a negative is the failed Worf Troy thing, but it was like seconds of screen time in the abstract, so
it was just dumb. That was like the Scotty and Uhura in Star Trek 5. Like,
it's close. It's close.
What the hell is going on there? It's hard to think of negatives, honestly.
Yeah.
Anything with Ensign Rowe is a negative.
Oh, yeah. Not seeing Moriarty again, or like Data's Sherlock Holmes. He went so hard at the first one and then sort of ignoring all that stuff.
There's a lot of missed opportunities like that. Yeah. That one was legalities though, because they got in trouble from the Holmes or the Conan Doyle estate.
So that was definitely a thing. Like that could have been such a great. I mean, that was a perfect choice for the Moriarty character. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Definitely should have been more in. Well, not as much. I should have had more of Picard's family. Pierre and I mean I don't know why they wouldn't have thought in season 7 to bring back the kid as like a Starfleet cadet or something. Like that was an obvious choice following up that storyline. So that was a miss. And then they burned him alive after. Great. Good job, guys. Real nice of the Picard family. Do you think it was weak for not having more source separations, or was the two and done making it the oomph that it needed?
For saucer separations, it needed a lot more of those.
Okay, there you go.
That would have made interesting. That would have made a lot of the stories more interesting, like having to tuck the saucer away somewhere safe. You guys hide here. We'll be back because there's dangerous shit afoot. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't use it more. It was a good premise to begin with, and I think their initial thought was they're going to use it quite a bit for dangerous situations, and it just became a forgotten thing, honestly. And that's sad. The miniatures breaking is a negative thing. The Ferengi Marauder miniature that had articulating points to it that broke, so they never used it again. The Bird of Prey, the wings were articulated. They broke, so they just kept them in the same position all the time. So the model makers, up your game, man. I'm just kidding. Just there was a lot of things that were like done once and never done again. Which I mean, you don't want to beat something into the ground as well. Like you don't want to beat it over somebody's head and just say, "Look at it, look at it, look at it." But there were a lot of things that could have been used a few more times for sure.
Obviously, I wouldn't have been opposed to using the same exact source separation clips 5 times, 5 episodes, say. But when you need to then have exclusive saucer only sequences, that's all going to be new footage. And you got to say, well, do you want to spend a third of the episode budget on new special effects, as that's what it would be, like for a big sequence, or on, all the props and costumes and sets? Yes, it could be a bottle show. What about a new alien race or whatever? So money not well spent, money spent. That's why it's quite remarkable looking back and seeing Arsenal of Freedom. Like, wow, there's actually a space battle with the saucer or the secondary hull. That's once off pretty much. Like that, even in Best of Both Worlds, it just sort of sits there and goes pew. There isn't really a space battle, so it's a pew. Yeah.
Captain Casey Stewart throws in $5. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Saucer separation was at least 3 times. Yes.
Yeah, if you include Generations.
Yeah.
There's only Best of Both Worlds and Farpoint, right?
Yes.
But I'm not including Generations because it was a movie.
They really should have used it in the one where Geordi was in command. Season 1.
Oh, yeah, I guess they did do that one too. Yeah. Well, they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I talked about a minute ago, yeah.
Yeah. Forget the name of that.
Because that was an insane, like, quick wrap-up. Like, all that battle happens in, like, 3 minutes, and then they... Oh, goodbye. I was mentioning it just because of the battle bridge. We never really got to see it after a certain point.
Yeah.
Obviously, the set got destroyed, or not reusable, so that was harder to rebuild. Well, it's I said earlier in the stream, it's funny when you then have these CG assets, and then turning them into other sets that are obviously the same walls, the same consoles. They're not going to change too much. Like the Constellation and the Enterprise C, all the back consoles are the same. So suddenly, and often, we built a Star Trek 6 command console 5 years ago, and it's just the one they reused in this bridge. So I said, well, here's this finished console. Use this. Oh, cool. I saved. All the sets become quicker and easier when they are the exact same sets. It's really quite great, actually.
Yeah. Dan makes a good point. They never used the captain's yacht, which would have been also very cool to see. Same problem with Voyager not using the Aero shuttle.
But I
think that would have come in super handy in Voyager, being the Delta Quadrant, to have another capable ship like that.
But the captain's yacht on the D is not visibly there. In that you would never say, "Oh, those three ovals must be a secondary craft."
Yeah.
They're just part of the hull. The air shuttle is clearly a shape that's a custom shape. Like if you look at it long enough, you're going to think, "Oh, that's a new ship, isn't it? That's weird." So I get that for the Enterprise D. Like, did they even mention it in the dialogue?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, it feels like an added thing by Okuda. It's like a fun little, hey, look, by the way. But yeah,
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. Although, yeah, boy, I don't know how they would have achieved anything. They would have had to build a new full miniature of the saucer and then limit just the saucer shots with a hole for the thing. That would have been a horrible thing to try and build. And
it had at least like one story potential for me, that Captain Shot. He could have taken it to go on a trip, got caught in some kind of vortex time thing, got sent back in time. Because that thing, the Cousteau, is it the Cousteau?
Maybe.
It looks so much like a UFO.
Yeah.
So go back in time, be spotted as a UFO, do the Area 51 thing.
Yeah.
Something like that would have been interesting. But, yeah.
Yes, all concerned. That's the point I was making. That's why it was destroyed, because they lost it for the movies. It was destroyed and another set was built.
Sergeant Roadkill throws in 5 pounds.
Thank you.
Says Geordie Creepin was the worst. Just wish he'd grown with his interactions. Just wish he'd grown with his interactions with his crushes. Even I'm not that bad, and I bounce off the wall. BBB. Yeah, there was one episode, Evolution, I believe it was called, where he got the girl at the end, and he thanked the guy for the confidence to get the girl, and then the girl's never mentioned again after that.
Also, their first date didn't go very well. Confidence is only part of the equation, Stuart. You gotta have a good click as well.
I know, but things were going good with her, she said. He said it twice in the episode, and then bugs me.
I'm sorry, Stuart.
You should be. It's your fault.
Yeah. I should start going back in time and forcing those rewrites.
Yes, please do.
Look, okay, like LeVar, once in the 80s, I had no change. He did buy me a soda. And I just thought, you know what? If this guy's ever in space, not when, no girlfriends. And it wasn't my fault that he ended up in space. I end up back in time as network executive. Look, the stars aligned and it happened, okay? Should have bought me a soda.
Yep. Should we do a new poll?
Yes. What are results, Stuart?
All right. What do you think about the next generation? 89% people love it. 11% of people like it. And 0% say it's okay. And 0% say they don't like it. I'm going to end that because otherwise somebody's going to jump in and vote.
I've never seen that, Stuart.
Nope, neither have I. So that's close. See, I told you if you did the 2 options, you would have had a 100% poll, but you had to screw that up.
Not one of you fuckers had the balls to just because you could. You all did it for realsies. Good job.
About something sacred here.
Wow, I'm thoroughly impressed with you all. Jesus, that's amazing. Okay, what's the next poll, Stuart? Because that is something epic, just like that.
What's the next? I don't know. My God, man. I don't have an option for another poll. I would say who's your favorite character, but there's only 4 options you can put in a poll, unfortunately. But you know what I do know is now is a good time for an ad. There we go.
Okay. And I bought 4 of those. So if you want to support Trekyards, buy 4 and check out code Trekyards. Now, I wasn't expecting when they said for 3 Lamborghinis, 4 would come. I just said yes to the email with 4. So if you can also buy 4 Lamborghinis, use code Trekyards to get 3% off pre-tax.
Sergeant Roadkill saves my stream with 5 pounds. Wish we had more of the TNG fleet and the Probert ambassador. Agree on both points. We did see some of the fleet at Wolf 359, just kit bashy things. Would have liked to have seen more of them. We say the same thing about TOS. I would like to see the TOS fleet. You don't, you get talk of how big the fleet is, but you never really see it. And yeah, when you do see ships in TNG, it's just an Excelsior or Miranda or
it's either the Hood or a Miranda, pretty much,
or a Constellation. Like they're all older ships, just to kind of push the fact that yes, the Galaxy class is the new cream of the crop. Not many of them out there. So, but yeah, there were some interesting designs for Wolf 359, which you think we might have seen again, and just no,
well, they weren't real designs. That's the point.
No,
I mean, I still remember the day that Rick Sternbuck found his Polaroids and posted them. And we'd never seen the ships before that. And then Eagle Moss made them all, and then we all had them. But we didn't know what they looked like, Stuart. None of us did. He just happened to save Polaroids at the time. And then all of a sudden, it was Christmas. And they were pretty good designs. Like, they're not bad designs. I mean, New Orleans is great for a reason. But that's a pretty darn good design.
Well, we have a new poll.
Yes.
Is Picard overall the best Starfleet captain? Yes or no?
I definitely would not put Cisco over Picard in terms of overall best Starfleet captain, because he was going to genocide a planet, mass murder a planet. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I would probably do the same thing.
Exactly. So you wouldn't be an overall best Starfleet captain.
Hey.
Because most aren't. That's the point. Most aren't overall the best captain. I just mean Starfleet values. Because Kirk certainly wouldn't be either.
That's true.
Picard's
Starfleet value-wise, Picard is him and Janeway. Because Janeway upheld those Federation ideals in the friggin' Delta Quadrant when she didn't really have to.
Yeah, well, Janeway is in theory, but she was dealt way worse cards than Picard overall. So she had to push that to the absolute nth degree. Picard always could go home.
But no, because then he had to fight his brother in the mud. So no.
and not flirt with the sister-in-law. Those subtle tensions, those writers they put in.
Right. Man, I can't believe it's 35 years, though. Seriously.
I mean, I wasn't there for most of it, so I can.
Wow.
Like, time passed differently for me. Well, how many years does it feel like?
50. Feels longer than it actually is.
Okay.
But I can't believe it's 35. It's one of those weird things.
Right.
It's hard to imagine when it was on the air and network TV was still a thing,
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, just the idea of having 22 40-minute high budget. Holy shit. I mean, could you imagine telling any production crew now, you've got to make 22 of this at this quality? They'd be like, are you joking? We can't do that. And it's like, but we did it. Like, everyone. I mean, production value takes long to make now, cost. I mean, just instead of shooting in 4K, like a costume has to look better in 4K than 1080p, which is why when TNG looks so good in full HD, like that a lot of shows when they jump from SD to HD, the seams show for TNG, it was like wiping away a grit and revealing detail that you never saw. That 8 times out of 10 look better. A few things look worse, but for the most part, it was enhanced by its HD, which means it was over designed for the time, which is phenomenal. Because it could easily not have been. TOS does not hold up as well, but it's plain in general, so that kind of works to its advantage.
That's a good point. I'm glad you said 8 times out of 10, because there's the odd scene where it's like I can tell that's a wooden door frame.
Yeah,
and there are paintbrush strokes on it.
One of my favorite things about replicating the interiors in CG, the texturing, where you create the wood effects or the door looks, all that stuff. Try and get the color right. But it's more than just that. It's about the physicality of what does a set look like, how the things react to light, what's it made of. In reality of Star Trek, the walls are metal, right? So in theory, you should add reflective metal surfaces to Enterprise D corridor. But in reality, they're painted wood. And they're not painted to look like metal. They're painted to look like who the hell knows what. So you've got to build painted wood looking not metal, and that's how you make it look like TNG. Not what it is, but painted wood. And painted wood is weird because you can see little textures of the wood. There's a in the Stargate Gould mothership, there's a texture on the walls that looks like a kind of like stucco print type texture, but it's like it looks like paint in the close-ups because it is paint, and it's really like exaggerated for effect. It looks great any other view, but super close up. And so it's interesting when you then do God, there was like a shot of one of the like early season TNG that I was close up of the one of the consoles, and you could literally see the paint lines going up. And it's like, yeah, well, it's paint, you know, it's a certain paint, so it's really fun to kind of deconstruct. That's why a lot of the time in CG, and this is what happens nowadays in modern TV, is that you want to make things more reflective to create more depth of shadow and of just depth, right? Stargazer Bridge is very depthy, over depthy because of the reflections. TNG, there's no reflections anywhere. Everything's matte, basically entirely, which makes it all look much more plain. So how do you texture plain? Well, you just kind of do. It's a weird thing to try and do. Yeah.
Because you're matching the on-screen appearance. It's like these uniforms from X06 or whatever the company is. There's the actual color of the uniform that it actually was, and then there's the screen representative color.
Yes.
And if you're replicating something to show it, it's difficult to pick which way to go, because you want it to look like it did on screen, but that's not the color it really was. So that's a tough call.
Well, and that gets doubly tricky when all of the TVs in the 80s were graded differently.
Yeah.
I mean, people would not be able to see the same colours. A German TV that was 10 years older than a American flat screen, like the newest and most advanced at the time. Like, that is legitimately going to look and feel different. Nowadays, obviously, it's much more better matched. But then we get this thing, and especially with filming, if you go with production colours, the camera innately changes them because that's the magic of whatever this thing's doing. So it's always better to go with how it
just doesn't look like this.
No
person.
No. And in fact, they did a video with the Adam Savage group, and they had both, and they looked the same on camera, almost like pretty close, because the one that was a screen accurate was being changed in post by the cameras, and the other one was how you thought it looked, which meant that they were saying this one looks really weird, and we as the audience thinking that looks perfect, because they saw it differently to how we saw it. But obviously, if you as the audience member are at home in your shelf, you don't want it to look like you're not taking pictures of it. However, I do know the real colours, and I would rather have the real colours because I know that's how they should look. I don't want the bright red. I want the wine because I know what it should look like. So I'm well into the, I've seen originals for years. I know what it should look like. Yeah.
5 more likes, guys. Can we get 5 more likes to get to 100?
Do it.
Hit that like button. Keep the super chats coming. Anybody have any things they want to say about TNG? Favorite things you didn't like? We both struggled kind of trying to pick negative things.
I mean, I think we had some good choices though, some fair things. But yeah. Oh.
So let us know.
The first run of phases.
Oh God. Dustbuster.
Not a good design. I've used the Cobra head plenty of times now, and it's actually weirdly the scale. It has to be you felt the real size ones at Prop Works. Like once the real scale comes in, it feels better. It's just when you have the toy scale, it feels crap. As if it was designed to be held by people for realsies.
For realsies, you just said that.
Yeah, and I do. As I said earlier, I just every time I do a TNG shoot and get the props in, it's so satisfying because the way they hold them is so specific. The lack of sleekness is so, but I pigeonhole my the present is post Nemesis, so anytime I go back before that, we're all got to be younger, and someone like Nick Cook, I have to de-age because he does not look that young anymore. And I have a couple of characters in TNG, but it's like, I have a very small pool of people that I use, but I have them very developed. So to play in that very specific sandbox is quite a challenge, honestly. And then, you don't, like, props are fun as a group. I was able to just about, I'll give a little spoiler, I was able to, as one of Alexa's films, I was able to justifiably say that they are still using TNG props with Voyager costumes, because for 1 year they did. Or 2 years. No, 2 years. And that's a really, really fun vibe, because in TNG they had the fabric holsters, but as soon as they swapped to the Voyager costumes, they had the proper ones, which I have. So there is a short crossover period. And see, those uniforms with those props is like, I got to use all my props for one thing. Yay. Because you don't associate them. But TNG DS9 seasons 1 to 3 was the old props. Like that was. And even season 1 of Voyager, they just don't use them much, is the old props. And all of a sudden, Voyager gets all the new stuff. Lost 70,000 light years away. Coincidence? I think not.
Conspiracy.
Wrong show. Yeah, wrong show.
Bug bugs are to blame.
Bud bugs!
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Dear me.
Alright, here's a question for everybody. Picard is going to be done at the end of season 3. Okay? So if they had to do a new character for like another 3 seasons, who would you guys want to see? Put it in the chat. One of the TNG crew, one of the DS9, Voyager, I don't care. I'm interested to find out what you guys would want to see, like Star Trek Geordi for 3 or 4 seasons or something. Go ahead, put it in the chat.
Like Paramount had to. Oh no, what a shame. Oh, they had to.
Oh, I have to have a drink. Martin put hashtag Code of Honor. I don't have a drink though. I was gonna have one because it's like a celebration, and I completely forgot. John O'Sullivan, €2.
Thank you.
Best episode: Shades of Grey or Code of Honor.
Can we ban him? Can we do that?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Because we don't really ban people. I think that's a bannable offence. I think that's...
Oh. Not good. Squadron Course wants a Rios show. Yeah, that'd be great. Watching him help fucking people with medical aid.
And die in his 70s.
In the past. In a bar fight. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's do that.
As if they had no plan and made up as went along. Because they did! Season 2. Dear me.
Ugh.
I mean, for me, obviously, where we go from the cast of TNG from where we see them is not where they're going to be in season 3 of Picard. So, to guess how I'm going to... Like, 7, I would have loved to see more of her originally. I'm less keen now because of Picard seasons 1 and 2. Significantly less interested. Like, humongously less interested. But, we are getting Star Trek Janeway in Prodigy. 3 different Janeways in one show. Evil Janeway briefly, good and hollow Janeway. That's a lot of Janeway. Oh. I mean, Worf in general will be fun, because Dawn's a great guy. Geordi would be fun, but depends where he's gone. Because it should be an engineering show, but also that would be weird. So it's got to be him as lead, but who is he if he's not an engineer? Well, I guess he's a family man now, but who's to say?
And O'Brien, no. Just look at his home life with Keiko, and he goes to Starfleet Academy to teach.
Well, that's the Academy show.
It's like a sitcom. Martin Devon says Star Trek Waxana.
Harder to do now.
Somewhat. Rios LA Adventures.
I would love to obviously have seen a Riker as Titan captain, but he's been retired blah blah blah. So that's long since sailed.
They're gonna give us 7 of Raffi. Star Trek 7 of Raffi.
Hey, why not give us Star Trek Sulu? Let's bring George out of retirement and be Admiral Sulu on the Excelsior B.
Excellent.
I mean, I'd still watch a Sulu show. His voice is still mostly there. I'd love to see him in Monster Maroon again as old Sulu. I have to dye his eyebrows, because boy, eyebrows when they go grey, that makes a huge difference to your appearance. I don't know if you noticed that, but Patrick's eyebrows were like almost removed in season 1, and they make them a lot darker in season 2 because that really helps to accentuate your features to put that back in. I remember noticing that. It really ages you back in.
Yeah.
Hogan's like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. What about you then? What character would you say then?
Ezri would be great. But out of TNG, honestly, I think Worf would be a very good pick.
I mean, talk about going three-dimensional Klingons. I mean, Ambassador Worf dealing with Klingon politics in his old age. Great. You know, it could be their big apology for no good Klingons in Discovery Season 1 and 2. You just have an entire Klingon show and everyone's the real Klingons. Wouldn't that be a great we messed up admission?
Yeah.
Although I'd want him to separate out the hair like he did in TNG, Mr. Worf. Because connecting the beard elements does change it a bit too much for me.
Yes.
You'll forget as soon as you start watching it, but you know when you do comparisons, it's you feel it more. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Assuming if Brent hadn't been killed twice, you know, a Data as a human show would have been very interesting. I mean, like a one season thing, but if he had been brought back, put in a human body, if Brent didn't have the croak that he has in the show, but not in real life, I don't know why. Like, let's see him play Data, evolving into more of a human side, maybe getting a girlfriend, like seeing the human final act of his life, like in the context of that's all we need to see, rather than kill him twice. That would have been fun. Like, let's see Brent as Data accomplish the goal he waited his entire life to do. You know, can you imagine if that was the setup at the end of season 1 of Picard? Like, here is Brent in a golem. He can age now successfully. Season 2, he's out doing something important because he's not in the past. Season 3, here he is, and we're a time jump, and you know, Brent as Data as because human Data, like it you know, and we both said, and you said this earlier, they've got such an out. It's a cheap out, but it's a clever out, whereby at the end of season 2 of Picard, Q snaps people favors. You know, he snaps Data alive again, or at least engrams recombobulated into a human body as he did once before. That's obviously what you do. You know, I'm repaying you guys. Data only wanted to die because he was sad at being on a computer. And the first time, because he wanted to save his crew. Neither time he wanted to die because he wanted to die. That was situational. He would wanted to be human, so Q easy brought him back. I mean, so easy it's not even funny, you know. Yeah. And that might be a thing. They've not shown Brent in any form. There is an out there, you know. If the God being says he's back, I mean, it's a smart out. It's a smart out.
We need a Star Trek Odd Couple series with B4 and Lore living together. We call it the Lore Before, and them dealing with their personalities. Yeah, there you go.
Can you imagine Brent's like, I'm done with Star Trek. I've played all the characters. Brent, yes, we're gonna give you all the money, and you're gonna come back. Am I? You're gonna play Lore and B4. Who else? No. You both on a spaceship. Any other characters? No. Brent, it'd be like, yes. My favorite co-host is myself. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, oh my goodness, a soon show. You know, when we went into this live, I thought talking about 35 years of TNG would be easy. And here I am. I have nothing to say at this point. I'm just like burnt out.
Aw.
It's great. Tomorrow's Lower Decks.
Lower Decks, Stuart. My goodness. I hear it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a lot to talk about, a lot of breakdown videos.
Just
saying. I don't know. An idea for a show that or like something like a mini-series, Warren Lower, where they followed his career up the ranks. So probably continuing the idea of Lower Decks crossover. Okay. Harry Kim. Ooh, yeah, that's what we need. Star Trek Kim. Never did a Star Trek medical show yet. I don't know if I'd be interested in a Star Trek medical show. Squadra Course throws in $1. There he goes. Looking for that last super chat slot. Squadra Course knows when things are happening.
Yeah.
I don't have any energy, and I'm just like, I don't know what to say at this point.
Well, we did do 120 reviews of TNG, very in depth. We do them to the oomph degree. But
yes.
But isn't it just a nice feeling to know that we have them all back in a few months? We're the showrunner that knows what he's doing a bit more than the previous showrunners. And certainly his confidence online is positive. I mean, I couldn't say that Michael Chabon, and it gave me confidence with his postings, nor I guess Akiva Goldsman in season 2 didn't talk about it at all. I know that Chabon posted very, very in-depth Romulan articles. It's great. He might understand some lore, but he didn't put into a show that's any good. So that's on him for not, But Terry's obviously so proud of the show. So proud of getting the gang back together. I know he fought like hell to do all of them. So, And as I said back when they sort of announced them, cameos or characters. I remember very first time we said about like Lower Decks or even Picard, I think it was Picard, I said they should get one actor back each episode, make it about their speciality, and then they're not guest stars in a sense, they're like full blown character, and then they converge at the end because each character is so specific in what they can do. Deanna, you need to read someone's brain in a very emotional way, and then Beverly save a planet, and it kind of writes itself. But yeah, they're back. But then is that okay? Well, when not that we thought Nemesis was the end, but when you realised Nemesis was the end of these characters, did you feel? Because I don't remember that feeling or not. Do you remember being upset that this is the end of these characters? Because right now I feel like that will be the end of the characters after Picard season 3, and I feel sad now knowing that's probably the end. Do you remember thinking that was the end?
Didn't think it was the end, and I didn't feel sad realizing it when it was. Because I think the end of Nemesis is a pretty good standoff. With the toast and all that, and Data not being there, and then the Enterprise to pan out. I think that was a very good end. And then you can imagine adventures.
Oh yeah.
With them.
In the chat.
Imagine adventures with them later. Instead of actually seeing what actually happens and being all depressed because, Picard missed the mark, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I guess a fitting farewell kind of takes the sting out of never seeing them again.
Yeah.
But after Star Trek 6, we never got to see Uhura again in any form, canon. We got to see Chekhov and Scott again briefly. We got to see Sulu for a flashback, literally. But Uhura never given another chance after 6. I mean, I hope we see more of them in Lower Decks, because I mean, Lower Decks has got to go the mile. It's got to go 7 seasons or more. I know they're also expensive, but you'd like to think they'll get more TNG cast back rather than. Well, no, I guess they haven't yet. I guess Beverly was the. No, I guess you could argue Q was the, but Beverly obviously was the Prodigy get. But it's like keep getting them. Keep bringing them back for meaningful stories. That's the theme. That's the idea.
Share Olivia, or just Olivia, puts in $5. Sam, I can't believe I get to see a live stream of Sam. He is so cool. No one can be like him.
Jazz hands.
Not Eve, that Foley guy.
Well, thanks.
Casual Trekker. Remember, for 13 months, the rank of Admiral.
Even just reading that's like 13 months of doing this show. Yes, Sam. Many more than 13. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you think that any of the crew coming back are going to be wasted by being brought back with only having 10 episodes to bring back these fan favorite characters? It'll be amazing to see them all again. Thoughts on this? Will any of them be wasted?
I mean, let's be honest. Troy, because of her wasted-itis in TNG. I mean, I hope not. I think they know that this is everyone's essential in their own way, but of course there's a hierarchy of essentialness. Riker has a lot more flexibility in Starfleet and in story. Beverly has a lot of flexibility with Picard's past, present, and future. Jordan has a lot of flexibility with Data storyline. Worf has a lot of flexibility with aliens. Deanna is flexible in the gym.
I think them and everybody knows. Terry, he loves Star Trek. He loves season 3. He's proud of it, and I think everybody knows this is kind of their swan song. The last time they'll be together. Whether another of them gets a spin-off show or not, I don't know. But hopefully everybody is treated well and the characters get a good ending, good satisfying ending. Picard didn't. I think Picard, if they had ended with TNG, one of the absolute best characters ever written, not just in Star Trek, but just a fantastic character. Then Picard season 1 came along, and he was just a miserable.
Kind of slashed the ties of Picard.
Exactly, and that's not cool. And then literally he died, and so the Picard we have now isn't even really Picard. So, as Samuel says, sometimes going back and revisiting things makes it worse in retrospect because you know where the characters, what trajectory they're on, and it's like it's better not knowing almost, because then you, like I said, you can create your own adventures in your mind and just have them have a good life, have kids, instead of getting canon disappointment.
And Dan says Uhura was shown in DS9's Trials and Tribulations. No, stock footage was shown. Uhura wasn't. That doesn't count anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it's certainly true. And I mean, they know that, but at the end of the day, the studio executives hold the purse strings. And just like with the shiny floors, they all knew that shiny floors weren't Trek. But, as in this era Trek, but somebody said, I want shiny floors that was up above the people who design stuff, and they're forced to do them and live with them. And they have to accept it and be happy, but it's like, well, obviously, it's an 80s aesthetic. No, it's a Star Trek aesthetic. I was watching Andor yesterday, or whatever day, I'm like, I kept thinking, that screen looks a bit too 70s. Imagine, I kept thinking, I should really do a post sarcastically, and I'm not a sarcastic person, so I obviously didn't. But, they should really update these 3 things look so out of date. Why can't they do an update like they did in Star Trek? But Star Wars fans would crucify Lucasfilm if they changed anything. If they go into any of the eras, it looks identical. They don't change a damn thing. They might add new robots, but they don't change the things. In Trek, they just don't give a fuck about that. Two fucks aren't given. Why is Star Wars given such absolute lethal respect? How is that monitor with white pictograms still looking advanced in 2022? Of course it doesn't. It looks like garbage. But you wouldn't think to change it. That's the Star Wars aesthetic. And yet, TOS, fuck off. Yep. You can just rip it up. Doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter to the people involved. It has carpets. That's 80s. Well, Star Wars
So
has...
Commander's rant corner, everybody. This is awesome.
I mean, I feel like Stormtroopers should not have... That's just a Boeing machine gun from the World War II. They shouldn't have that. Look, I can tell what it is. Get rid of it. Give them the laser gun with glowies. Because I can tell what it is. It looks like shit. That's very 70s to reuse stock guns they had from another movie and change them. No, of course not. You wouldn't think of doing that. Fucking stupid. But it's not the designers. It's the people above them saying, well, it won't fly. It's like, that's not the point. It will fly to the people who matter.
Casual.
So I work so hard to keep designers consistent to my stuff. So bloody hard. But I'm the top guy, so I'm able to keep it canon. Although you guys are above me in a sense, the viewers, because you guys are the judges. You know, if I do something wrong, you guys will see it and judge me.
Usually I go on the rants. That was awesome.
I just love seeing the Andor. It was so respectful, and I was like, well, this is just so anti-Star Trek, you know?
And, Casual Tracker throws in $2. How would you like them to do this nod to Tasha?
Oh, I think they're lying. She's in it. That's a total lie. That's a Denise shouldn't have said anything. But what are you going to do, fire her? They fired her 35 years ago. She came back. You can't fire Denise Crosby. She always comes back. Although, guys, to celebrate the anniversary, can we get another $33? A lovely milestone. Quick fire fives. It's not that many fives. 35 is... That's 7 fives. Quick fire.
But as for this nod to Tasha, there's lots of ways they could do that. It would be good. Tasha never actually died.
Oh, Jesus. That's a thing to do. Oof.
Yeah. She got put in stasis. Something stupid like that. They could come up with something good. Could be that Seela's back. I mean, seeing Seela again would be good, actually. Because we never got closure on her.
And it is still technically a nod to Tasha because she's Tasha's daughter. Technically, because she could talk about Tasha. Even though she's Seela. Technically a nod.
I don't know. I completely forgot that she was coming back. Honestly.
Yeah, she said, and it was... Yeah, it's exciting in its own way. But I mean, it's like I'm sure there's going to be a brief Wesley cameo, and certainly Whoopi will be in the season in some way. Certainly. Because she's part of the core cast. In some, just one scene, that's fine. She was in another one for a couple of scenes. No, I think Seela for sure, but we've said that for a while. Seela for sure, and there'll be like maybe even an old footage of, because remember Tasha was killed after Seela was born, but Tasha was going to be older after that. So even if the times don't match up exactly, it's still going to be an older Tasha. If you do a flashback to seeing. Tasha mentions when Seela was killed. Seela mentioned when Tasha was killed, and then you see a flashback. Finally, seeing those moments, you can just be Denise playing it as her older self, and that's fine because she aged 30 years in 12 years after being at the battle or whatever, and that'd be great. That'd be fine. It'd be kind of cool. Because de-aging's tricky as hell, and certainly for ladies, it's harder to do because. You associate beauty more with ladies versus men. You kind of have the chisel features. You just kind of remove the wrinkles and you accept it more. I've done a few women test de-ages and it's just a harder thing to do. Not impossible, but it is just a. I don't think it'll just be the hologram. The hologram may appear, but that can't be it. Otherwise, that'd be very sad because it'd just be her stock footage from the 80s. That's a nod, but it's not really a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to include her, but
there'll be a scene. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if Barclay's back for a scene. Game all in as day players.
I would like that, yeah.
Because if you're doing the greatest hits, I mean, you can negotiate with them all. If it's for a single day of shooting, actors aren't that expensive. Get what's his name, Dwight
Schultz.
Yeah, I mean, $30,000 for a day. Like, yeah, make it a good scene. Yeah.
Sure, Olivia throws in $2. Is Spiner going to be in Picard season 3? Yes.
As an important something of something of something.
Yes. We don't know
No.
what he's going to be, but he's going to be there.
But if they want to make Sealer the bad guy of the season, do it.
Well, I heard the bad guys or the adversaries are females, so.
Well, the fact is, anything they say also, they don't want to spoil stuff. So, you know. And the fact is, are we going to complain to them? And we did, I guess, for JJ's Khan, but that was a little bit more. He's doing it for cynical reasons. But, you know, are we going to complain if they're lying or overly misleading us to hide spoilers? Well, no, because in 20 years' time, no one's going to say, yes, but Terry told us that they were not an old villain. It's like, wow, Tasha came back as Sealer. Oh my god. You know, so it's, yeah. And I'd rather not be spoiled. Yeah, there's a flow to a season that's very specific. Although it'd be interesting to see how much the season's built as a week-on-week versus a binge. Because Picard Season 2 clearly was suffering massively from week-to-weekness. Just massively. But that's if it wasn't structured well. But I wonder if this has been built with a one-by-one mind as well. Because if they have a successful beginning, middle, and end, as well as the overarching, that'd be quite successful or quite nice.
Yeah. Well, guys, can we get another $30 to close out? And another 8 likes. Let's try to get to 120 likes. But yeah.
Yeah. And I'll
want to say about TNG, congratulate them for 35 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I will remind everyone, my next Trek Shots comes out on Friday, which is very, very soon. It is a TNG Season 1 sort of film involving an ensign, new ensign, just graduated. In fact, this may not be her first day. Well, it might not be, I don't know. It's near there. I haven't worked out exactly which day it is. But please check that out on Friday. These things are being made to be watched. And we've got Indiegogo coming middle of next month because I am insanely over budget, as you can imagine, and severely out of money, as you can imagine. Barely keeping it together, as you can imagine. So enjoy what we release and support us next month if you can, because we'll be showing some really cool stuff. And I send strip pictures occasionally of like on the set. It's like, oh, I mean, obviously you got to picture what's behind the green, but you know, the amount of uniforms and eras and stuff is pretty variable.
Yeah, so it's crazy shit happening.
And I mean, I do wish you were much closer because you know. Be a bit easier to get you into stuff. Bit easier.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Squadron Course $1 snipe. And then Sergeant Roadkill comes in with 35 pounds. Dun, 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 boom.
And I will just say...
Let's round this off because 35 years. Sorry. There you go.
Yeah, we're literally like 21 from 35 of a 35 number. But that, I mean, I'm happy with that either way. But you were saying, it's like you blew us past that first number. But yes, that is amazing though. And yes, Emma Thorne as Laura Reed. Gonna be interesting. Gonna be fun. I look forward to hearing your review as well when you see it.
Yes, yes, me too.
And it's actually the longest short I've made for a while. Just happens to be, wasn't intended to be, but the way it's formatted. Because I hope you like the Star Trek six-isms of it, because I've worked hard to make it feel era appropriate.
Sure, Olivia throws in $2. Hit like if you love the Commander's triple hair. You know,
maybe.
One thing we should do when we do these kind of lives where we have like nothing to show, is we should split the screen and have us half and half.
Yeah. That's fair.
Especially when we're in uniform.
That's fair.
Because I'm just looking at that now going, wait a minute, that's a lot of wasted screen.
I mean, these are the celebrities of the hour. I mean, these
that's true.
These people right there.
Yay. Yeah.
I know what you mean, though. That's
they did it. Point. They made it to 35 years.
And unlike Babylon 5... and other such shows, we have the entire batch. All of them still kicking. And I have my picture with... well, not Whoopi, because she doesn't do conventions. and Frakes because the mother
Yeah.
effer skipped 35,000 UK conventions in a row, and Wesley barely does events, but got everyone else.
This ML chick, she's a YouTuber apparently. Yeah.
Mhm.
What's her channel?
Emma Thorne. That's her name. Yes, she has 100,000 subscribers already, Stuart, and she got it. She was on YouTube for like 8 years, and then she got 100,000 in like 2 years. So, because when you get 50,000 views a video, it's a bit easier to, you know,
I've never
get subscribers, etc. You know, she hits hot bud topics, which also generates interest and lots of negative reactions as well. So, and she was back at the studio on Monday, and we filmed something for her channel, which is fun because, you know, we've got slightly better cameras than her and a slightly bigger green screen, so we did something for that. In fact, I bought a 3D archive pack that I'm going to, because she can't do it. I'm going to be I tried to buy one with textures, but all the textures are based on Unreal Engine that aren't linked correctly, so I have to retexture everything. That's fine. It's like a stately manor. I just need one room though, so it's not going to be the end of the world. But yeah.
Alrighty, well, I think we'll call it there.
Beautiful.
And I will say, yay, 35 years.
Seriously, happy anniversary, happy birthday. You guys did the hard work for us to enjoy. Amazing, and we hope to see you at the 70th anniversary of TNG.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go, so we will chat with you guys later. Thank you for watching, and until next time, he's Commander Calkins.
He's Captain Foley. Look at his pips!
Say so, yeah.
Yes. Bye, guys.